Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Corey Rennie, the unemployable counselor. And just a quick workplace video today I wanted to talk about because I saw a TikTok, yeah, I know, and it said something that really kind of fit with what I've been saying, I think, in a lot of these things. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about it here. But it was like, never, if you're in management or you're taking a job in management, never accept a position where you get all the responsibility but none of the authority. Okay? And what I'm saying by that is this, is that we've all had management positions where like everyone has to report to somebody. There's always a chain of command, right? Some of the benefits to that, if you're on the lower rung of the management scale, a lot of times you report to someone so you can make decisions, but ultimately they're the ones responsible for those decisions, right? Not the guy making them at that lower level, but the head guy, right? So there has to be a certain amount of trust involved. Which ties into another video I did where when in the workplace you shouldn't trust anybody, and you just shouldn't. You're there for yourself, no one else. So you can be shocked and hurt when someone gets, I don't know, screwed over or misinformation, shall we say, however you want to say that, right? There's that certain level of invisibility for the lower level manager. But let's say you're in middle management or you're supposed to be the top dog, right? You're the big boss baby, whatever the case may be, right? So you get a position, management position. You're told you have all the say. You don't report to anyone except maybe one person or a specific few. However, that hierarchy is done. Every place is different. But when things go south, you have to think about it that way. If you find out early on that what you were told when you were hired wasn't true, you need to confront that and bring that up. If you decide you can live with that, and a lot of times it's for the money, absolutely, right? Managers get paid pretty decent depending where they are, right? And if you don't do that, then you're kind of walking into it. I'm not going to say eyes open because you're blind, because you still don't know things like who do you report stuff to, right? Or, okay, I'm going to make this decision because I can't find anybody else. So it's on me to make the decision. You as that manager. So you make the decision, good or bad. Like I said, if you're lower rung, then okay, gets kicked up to the next level regardless, and that person usually deals with it, right? If it's the top level, and they're making decisions to run your restaurant, your gas station, your I don't know, brothel, whatever business you're in, right? If you cannot go back to the chain of command or say, yeah, no, I made the decision, or the people you're supposed to explain your decisions to are just not available or not there or not caring, whatever the reason is, they're just not available. They're not there to assist with that. But when you were hired, you were told you can make those decisions, right? If you don't get it in writing, they're going to be hooped, okay? Because people can say whatever they want in those processes. If you don't get it in writing and you don't have that confirmation, they're going to probably deny it when shit hits the fan. That's just kind of how it goes. And it's all about people saving their own backside. It's not about the greater good. Because as I said in a previous video, if you go into a place and after you're done, or after you sign your hiring paper and look at you and say, this place sucks, or good luck, this place is a shithole, or this place is this, or whatever the case may be, a few things are there, right? And like I said then, they knew it was bad. Their step to fix it was to hire someone who's going to have the responsibility of fixing that. And later on, it's not going to turn into authority, even if you might think that at the beginning. And I like to talk about unfair business practice, but this is just shady kind of shit that kind of slides in, because a lot of times, if the place is that bad and you're walking into it, it means that no one did anything to fix it. So if you're a manager, right, and if you go in there to fix an issue, is it one that people actually want fixed? And this is where the responsibility versus authority comes into play. Because if you have a physical characteristic of your place that you have to take care of, right? There's a broken window, right? Plumbing issues, whatever the case may be, right? You can do that. You can fix that. It's your responsibility to make sure the thing is done. But when it comes to things like, hey, I need to get reports in, but I don't have all the pieces for them, and if that's out of my control, you don't have the authority to get them. See what I'm getting at? So then, when people are looking for those pieces, they're going to come looking for you. because you're the manager or whatever, grand poobah, however you want to classify running that environment. You're not going to get those pieces. So who does the heat fall on? And who do you report that to? An even better question, right? Responsibility versus authority. I'm responsible for this. I'm responsible for deadlines. I'm responsible for these things. But yet, you find out through literally trial and error that you don't have the authority to do that. How do you navigate through situations like that? How does your workplace run when you're navigating through situations like that? How does the team respond when you're navigating through experiences like that? Do you see where I'm going? All these things happen in conjunction with something else. And a lot of times it's deniability. If I don't respond to you, then I don't have to be accountable for it. But you signed up for it and you took the responsibility. So ultimately it's going to be in your lap. So when you're looking at management positions, and a lot of that stuff you don't find out right away. If you work in an environment that has some integrity or some guidelines that they follow, and everything is above board, a lot of that stuff should be known right away. Pathways, right? How do you navigate through certain things or mediate situations? Because okay, if this happens, I go to this part, or I go to my personnel department, or I go to whatever, right? Payroll, financial, whatever. However your organization runs, you should be able to go there and say, hey, look, this is the issue, and work with that to solve the issue. The problem is when you can't. And if you report to someone, or like I said, a few people, or however that works, and they don't assist either, then you're really left with, okay, how do I do this? Now, if you're lucky enough to have a union, most managers aren't in a union, but if you're lucky enough to be a part of a union, they'll assist with that, because then at least you have some protection. But those other things don't. Everybody is you're on an island, and that's not by accident, that's by design, right? It's like you're like a bulletproof vest, okay? You're going to get shot to hell, but the person wearing it's going to be okay. Usually the people wearing it are someone other than you. So you need to look at those factors. If you're willing to deal with that and you can work within that system, usually you have to conform to it. It won't conform to you. And if you have some, I'll just say if your ethical viewpoint is different from the people that you work with or work for or are supposed to report to, then there's going to be issues. Because already, from what I've listed, it doesn't sound like there's any support. It sounds like they're not willing to accept any responsibility, because that's yours. Remember, you signed up for that. But you don't have the authority to make the decisions that you need to make. So usually when something happens to impact the entire restaurant or gas station, like I said, wherever it is you work, then certain kind of cogs start moving. And usually it's the self-preservation cogs, right? This is where, by not answering calls or not acknowledging anything, a person can easily say, well, I didn't know about this. If I would have known, I would have stepped in. I can't believe this. I thought it was running smoothly. Stuff like that. And it's not true, because you probably have if you're a smart manager, you probably have a paper trail of any emails or anything like that goes out there, and you probably have all that stuff already. So, right, so you know that that's not true, but how do you prove that, right? And then there's always, depending on organizations, like I've said before, the bigger an organization is, the harder it is to reboot or reset, because there's things in place that they can't go and start over because it's too big. So you get putting band-aids on band-aids on band-aids. And a lot of times you might get people that, might struggle, or you might have people that don't know. And I always figure there's three things for people to deal with. They either don't know, they're incompetent, or they don't care. If things are set up, and I've had conversations where people looked at me and said, why do you want to change things? Well, we're not trying to change things. Things need to modernize. Services need to modernize. You need to be caught up to where the world is going, or at least be able to see it, see the tail lights ahead of you to know that you're on the right track. But if you keep running an organization or a restaurant 20 years behind the times, it's not going to connect like you think it's going to connect. Okay? And then you get issues like that. Then it boils down to you get hired into a place where you need to correct some issues and you need to tweak some things. But if you don't have the support, you don't have the people willing to help do that, because again, a lot of times when things are running rough, they're running rough for a reason, I find, right? There's something somewhere that's being done that's working for people. Because I always thought no matter where you work and no matter what you do, the goal should always be continual improvement. Okay? That's why I think unions, I think they have their place. And I think situations where in the workplace where, like I just said, if you need to work towards improvement, otherwise there's no benefit for the employees, there's no benefit for management, no benefit for anything. But if you don't have the authority to do that, then it runs into trouble. Just like it's even worse if you think you have the authority, if you've been told that, but again, there's nothing in writing. So you act on that. And then you find out at a later date, they're saying, no, that's not the case. Or the people that don't want things to change are upset because you're making changes they don't want to be a part of. So how do you do that? Well, if you're lucky, like I said, if you have a union, report to union. If there's a silent partner, you could talk to the silent partner. But a lot of times, it's not going to help because, as I said, the bigger a place is, the more moving pieces and the less they want to have to deal with that stuff. So if it looks like it's somewhat stable, they're going to keep it that way, even though it's not. So yeah, this turned into a little longer video, but what I'm saying is this. If you take a job in management, make sure you know what you're getting into. Because any management, there's always an on-call component. There's always some weekend stuff. I remember quite a long time ago, I remember someone told me that when you go into management, you're expected to work 70 to 80 hours a week, but yet you only get paid for 40, right? How does that work? Like, that doesn't seem like it's conducive for, I'm not even talking about self-care, but man, right? Depending on the type of work you do, that can be either an incredibly stressful thing or not at all. And maybe you got a good support team. Maybe it's just you. But like I said, at the end of the day, you can only trust you. And if you're not given the authority with the responsibility, but told you are, and once you find that out, you need to go. Because clearly that road is paved, or if something happens, that paving goes right to your doorstep. Okay? So I'm Corey Rennie, the unemployable counselor. I just don't touch base about that because, like I said, TikTok is a fantastic and wonderful thing that is also full of terrors. So I saw that, and it kind of highlighted what I wanted to talk about today. So I thought I would start with that, and we'll bring you some more later on. But I want you to take care of yourselves and just be kind to one another. Life's too short. We're all in this together, so let's just treat each other good and take care of yourselves. Okay, bye, and we'll talk later. Bye.